Welcome, friends, to Farm Fresh Designs 59. I want to give a warm welcome to all my new subscribers today. In today's video, I'm going to share a really inexpensive, quick gift and something to do with all of those gift bags. So for my first project, this is a wooden tag that I bought off of Amazon, and I believe that they come in packs of 6, and they are really sturdy. And I'm putting Dixie Belle Voodoo Gel Stain in the color Tobacco Road straight on it. Once it's dry, I'm using Dixie Belle Crackle Finish. And if you've not used a crackle finish before, it's a lot of fun. You're going to brush it on going in the same direction, and you only want to put one coat of it on. Now, with this crackle finish, they suggest that you let it sit up overnight, but if you need a quick gift, you can set it up with the heat gun pretty quick. And now I'm using Rust-Oleum Linen White Chalk Paint to put a heavy dry brush on it. And once again, you need to keep those strokes going in the same direction, and you don't want to overdo on the paint. Now, just recently, I found a Facebook page, and it's called Free Printables. And they have all of these beautiful images that all you need to do is copy that image and send it off to your printer, and you have a very, very cheap printable and graphic that you could use on your projects. So I'm using a water pen to go ahead and tear it off where I need it to go. And then this is just a little strip of wood that I found, and I printed with my Cricut, The Reason for the Season. And I painted the little strip of wood white. And if you'll notice in just a minute, it was going on so well, and I was so excited. And then there was this one little letter E that just was determined that it wasn't going to stick. But I'm a little hard-headed, and I was determined that that E was going to stick. And so I would push it down with that little tool, and then I pull it up, and that E was still stuck to the transfer, and I was getting so aggravated. And so I just kept on plugging away, and then I tried pulling it off of that transfer with that little tool, and well, that didn't help either. So I stuck it back down, and watch me, I lay it down, and then I peel it up, and then I grab onto that E with all I've got, just so I can get it on that little stick of wood. So hopefully you won't have the same problem. And then I sealed it, and then I'm just using my little miter scissors to cut it off to the size I need. Then I'm going to just use my finger sander to kind of sand off the edge. And then I'm going to be putting it on with the Tight Bond Thick and Quick. And that's the bottle that's blue and gray. Now, this image is still just more than what I need, so I'm just going to tear it until I get it to the size that I need. Now, I could have just glued it straight on and then sanded off the edges, but I wanted the edge to look a little bit jagged because this sign is more rustic. And so I just keep plugging away until I get it the size that I need. But I love that this is a free printable. But now remember, when you print something on paper, it's going to be a little bit heavier. And when you tear it, it's not going to have that same tear that rice paper will. So I'm just taking some distressing ink and going around the edges just to kind of rustic it up just a little bit. Now I'm also doing that on the little sign because I haven't glued it down yet, because I want that to also be kind of as rustic as the paper was. And I've already kind of measured where I want that little piece of wood to go as opposed to where I want the paper to go. Now I'm putting it on with Pent Art Decoupage Varnish and Glue. And I'll make sure to share the link with where I get that. Now, one of the things that I'm not crazy about distressing ink is that it tends to smear when it gets a little wet. So I realized that I needed to just pour out some of that glue and then put it on, because I knew that if I kept dipping my paint into that little bottle, then I was going to get some of that distressing ink on inside of the bottle, so I just poured a little bit out. And then I'm just using my brayer to get out all the wrinkles. And then I just put a little bit of that varnish and glue on it and just work my way down, as opposed to putting on that glue all at one time. Now, this is also the Voodoo Gel Stain, but this is a little bit lighter because I mixed Tobacco Road and Neutral, and it just lightens it up a little bit. And now I want to go ahead and finish making it all rustic looking. And I'm just going around the edges of that. And then I'm also going to put some on that little wooden sign. And if you'll notice, that white that I put on over the crackle finish, you don't see very much of it at all, but it gives it enough of a rustic look. Now I just take a little bit of twine and I'm just wrapping around my fingers in just a bow, and then I've got a little piece of twine laying on the table, and I use that to tie in the center and make several knots into it. And then all I'm going to do is kind of poof it out just a little bit and separate those strings. And then I've just got a really simple little bow. But I don't want any little tails hanging on this one. And I believe I go back and trim it off a little bit because I'm going to be adding something later on. And then you can see me separating those little strings. And I'm going to be hot gluing that up to the top, right above that sign. And you know how when you're working on a project, you think of something else that you might want to add to it. And I realized that I had a cross mold that one of my viewers actually sent me. She's a very sweet lady. And so I decided that because this sign is about Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus, I wanted to also incorporate a mold of the cross. And so I made it out of resin. And once it dries, then I use that big old contraption to put a little hole in it up at the top. Now, a lot of times if you wait too long, you're going to have to use a drill to get a hole in. So it was still kind of soft. So I decided to put a little hole in it so I could hang it from that little twine bow, and it just kind of drapes right down in front. And then I added just a little button to the middle of that bow. And I love it, and I think it's so sweet. So this would make a perfect gift for your pastor or for your Sunday school teacher. And it's very quick, and it's very inexpensive. And I will make sure to share the link to that Facebook page where you can get free printables. And they have a plethora of beautiful printables that you can print off. But more than anything, I love what this sign stands for. Okay, are you ready? This is a gorgeous gift bag that I found at Dollar Tree. Love it. Cut it up, and these are just some tobacco sticks that I had. I bought them actually in a big pack. And I'm going to put one up at the top and one at the bottom, and it's going to look kind of like a scroll, but I need to get some holes up in one end of it so that I can hang it. Now, I can't believe I'm even putting my finger on it at this point before I sand it because, well, I do have a history of getting splinter in my fingers. So all I'm doing is I'm just using my big staple gun and I'm just stapling it on. And I staple up at the top, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to staple down at the bottom. And it's just up to you how many staples you want to use. It depends on how big the sign is. But it's just a really quick and simple sign that you can use with your gift bags. So you're going to be getting gift bags a lot in the next couple days. So don't throw them away. And especially if you've got one that's as beautiful as this one, save it. Even if you have to save it for next year to make a pretty little sign. And this is some greenery that I pulled off something else. And I'm just twisting some little red berries. And I'm going to glue that up in the top left corner. And then the little bow that goes with it came off of something else, because I don't like to throw away pretty little bows. And I just put hot glue on it, and bada bing, bada boom, I am done. And I think it's gorgeous. Now, will this be good for outside? Absolutely not, unless you laminate it. But this is just something pretty that you can hang on the mantle or just anywhere. Now, it's pretty big. It's a big gift bag, but I love it, and I think it's beautiful. And I've had it hanging over my mantle since I made it because I like those colors. And my mantle is really rustic, and so it fits in really well. So friends, we are at the end of the video today. It was short and sweet, but I hope I gave you just a couple ideas as we head on into those last couple days before we celebrate the birth of Christ. So thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and I hope that you have the merriest Christmas ever. And make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd love for you to be part of my family. But once again, I'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas. And I will see you after Christmas. Thank you so much.